So we've talked about, well, we haven't really talked about this group, but they've come up quite often in discussions when we've been talking about austerity, what could happen after Brexit, and it's not only just in other countries this group exists. Now this group we're talking about, if again you haven't seen the name of the video, is the Taxpayers Alliance. Now who are they? Well, we don't know because they won't tell us who they are. How do they get the money? We don't know. But hopefully I'm going to start doing more videos I think about this group, because this is one of the groups I think you need to really watch out for in terms of pushing really hard right-wing policies and agenda. Do remember, this group wants to completely get rid of minimum wage. As far as they are concerned, minimum wage is the absolute worst thing ever. They also push for government accountability. And like I say, this is the thing that gets a lot of people, and a lot of people get on board with them because of this, what they push. But the problem is that they are very quiet about the rest of their stuff that they push. So if you ever do see like a TPA protest, then people are mostly there because we want accountability, and then there's always that person in the crowd going, let's get rid of minimum wage as well. In fact, early this year when the council collapsed, or what was it, which council was it now, but I can't remember, it was Conservative Council, one of the protests that protested saying, what have you done, was a TPA protest, demanding accountability from the council and demanding why they had collapsed. So that's something, again, to watch out for. But this is from Zillow Street, and this is one of the things that well, again, we're going to start getting into about the Taxpayers Alliance. Everything they say they don't really support because, again, they have an agenda they want to push, and it's quite a hard right agenda they are wanting to push. So this is from Zillow Street, and it's the Taxpayers Alliance doesn't care about taxpayers. So local government has to make cuts year on year thanks to the less than benevolent attitude of our really very caring Tory administration in Westminster. And so many pundits claim to know the solution to those financial constraints. So to show that it's not as easy as pontificating down the pub, Newcastle City Council has provided an online budget simulator to let the council taxpayers have a go. This has cost them no more than £5,000, which is a small beer when the scale of cuts that will have to be made this year is in the region of around £20 million. That makes the budget simulator cost just less than 0.025% of the cuts. But this is not enough for the so-called Taxpayers Alliance, for whom any spending by the local government is a staying verboten. The TPA would stop those working for such organisations from even having paid toilet breaks if they were in charge. In addition to their advocacy of abolishing the minimum wage and the NHS before taking a hatchet to health and safety regulation and such tedious things as food standards, public transport and decent air quality. So just so you know, these are all the things they're against. So it was that Chloe Westley, the TPA's alleged campaign manager, decided to shoot her mouth off about the Newcastle budget simulator, as the Chronicle Live reported. The council insists the tool is a great value for money, but a public spending pressure group has criticised the spend. It's not every day that you see a local council waste thousands of pounds on a project which is dedicated to expressing just how tight their budget is, said Chloe Westley, campaign manager at the Taxpayers Alliance. So one of the things that this would really do is it would show people this is just how much money we actually have. And I think this is a smart move by the council, because they need to get people angry to start campaigning to get councils more money. Because one of the things that austerity has done is it has left the brunt of all this anger at local councils when the real anger should be at the government who have imposed austerity on these councils. So the TPA warns that local government wants local government to be accountable, but wants them to do nothing. Also, the Chronicle Live got one thing wrong. The TPA is not a public spending pressure group. It is an AstroTurf lobby group pursuing a small state agenda that is ideologically committed to demonising government and any and all government as part of the service it provides to its rich and greedy cowardly backers. Newcastle City Council should make their budget simulator available to other locals authorities, thus recouping most of the cost, and the mean-spirited mouth artists of the TPA would still slag them off, especially if it meant a more and bigger publicity opportunities for themselves personally now. They do not want to save taxpayers' monies. Indeed, John O'Sera, who is a councillor for the Orcox Green Ward in Birmingham, has concluded 5k is a hugely handy gadget that explains the complexity and range of council work and the impact of costs. That's a bargain. The Birmingham City Council should adopt it as well. Cost shared, money recouped, TPA absent. If the TPA was really about saving taxpayers' money and making local government accountable, they would have made that suggestion themselves. But they are not. Small wonder then that Labour MP, there's a Labour MP who represents Newcastle Central, has observed, I call that accountability, unlike the Taxpayers Alliance, who refuses to say how many members they have or who funds them. Well, I can help with one of those points. The TPA represents fewer than one-tenth of 1% of the UK taxpayers. And that's true. They represent less than one-tenth. Less than one-tenth of 1% of UK taxpayers, and yet they constantly get media coverage. They constantly get put in papers, mainly the right-wing ones, pushing their agenda. And this group is incredibly dangerous. And trust me, after Brexit, I can guarantee you're going to start hearing from them more. But like I say, we're certainly going to do more stuff observing what the Taxpayers Alliance have said in the past and what they are claiming would be good and accountable for the UK taxpayers.